Hi, sorry, I'm a total mess. That's because I'm undergoing extreme depression. But through my depression, I would like to talk about Bournemouth versus Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm from India, and Brighton and Hove Albion are my favorite football team. I started watching them 2 years back when Kaoru Mitoma clips were circling around, and through Kaoru Mitoma, I started watching Brighton and Hove Albion. Then in Feb 2023, 2 seasons back, in the Brighton versus Bournemouth game, when Kaoru Mitoma headed in for the only goal that was passed by Jeremy Sarmiento, at that moment, I was completely hooked onto Brighton. They say you catch the bug for a certain team for football, and that was the moment it happened for me. I'm sorry I don't have superimposing pictures. Maybe later on I'll do it because I want to talk about yesterday's game, that is Bournemouth versus Brighton. Bournemouth have been doing well, but they are now 12th. They defeated Man City. They have Justin Clivert, and they have some other players who form a very good back four. They have Sarmiento from Ghana, who's during the entire match he was physically very imposing to our defensive line. Since Mitoma was also like a second defender, he was going through Mitoma very easily. So he's a very good player. Uh, Also, Ed Nielsen, the number nine. But the truth is, when it comes to class, it just seems that they are a little behind us in terms of actual skill. And I'll be very honest, I think Brighton, in terms of one touch passing, in terms of skill, in terms of just having football intelligence, I think the players that are there now are just a level higher. I think, to be very honest, they are almost like a raw package that can defeat any team in the world. I believe they can defeat Real Madrid and Barcelona very easily on their day. That is, if those teams have a off day. About the match, it started off with good intensity. We scored in the fourth minute, which was an awesome team goal because if you saw that all the front players, they knew what they had to do. The line is that you pass in front and then you pass back. Oops. So what else I feel worked over here was that the team seemed to be passing and playing with each other really well because it almost felt like they were playing in a training ground. So they were enjoying themselves, and when that happens, I think people feel a little easier. So the first goal, mm, our number 14, Jorginho Rutter, he had to go for the long shot, but I see that if anybody plays football, I don't play football, but I believe that that's a ploy. When you hit a long ball, you hope that if the keeper spills it, there's somebody to put it back into the goal for you. And he took that really well, Jorginho Rutter. And then our number nine, João Pedro, also scored. And second goal was an absolute beauty because João Pedro, he could have gone for it, but then he just waited. Over the past 2 years, João Pedro has made a lot of not so good decisions when it comes in front of goal, but each and every one of them who make mistakes, they seem to learn from it. Karu Mitoma has made so many blunders in front of goal because it just seems he's not trusting himself. But our second goal was just awesome because João Pedro waited that crucial moment, the crucial few seconds. Um, Probably against Arsenal or any other top teams, he may not have had those extra few seconds, but just that few seconds that he stopped, he looked around, scanned, and passed the ball straight, absolutely straight, which Mitoma read. And I guess because now Mitoma had a clearer head, or he just was just so happy with the playing that like he'd made no mistakes, just inch perfect um, shot that curled around exactly on. I believe they look for the for a player's blind spot because that's how the ball seemed to go past Kepa. Um, I'm not going to attempt his last name. So, so those are about Brighton's goals. It was sad about Baliba. It should not have been a red card. I hope it gets overturned. But if it doesn't, I hope he learns. Well, it's difficult to fault him, Baliba. Why? Because the first yellow card of Baliba, it was a tactical yellow card. He could have learned to be a little bit like to disguise it a little more, maybe just try to go for the ball and push him off and maybe not get a yellow card. But I guess in the moment he felt that he made a mistake and he can't allow a goal. A lot of central midfielders, and defenders do tactical fouls. It was just very blatant of him. It looked too obvious. So that was his first yellow card, and second one, I guess from the referee's perspective, it seemed correct to the referee. Um, let's not hate on referees; they have a tough job as well, despite what was coming in the news. Um, it's like the game of cricket as well as the game of football. Any game, we should try to, um, for the sake of the sanctity of the game, we should try to respect the referees and the staff. Of course, be critical of them or try to find out if there are any issues. Right. Then last coming to the actual game, um, despite how good we were, fluent we were up front and up back, there is still something in our game, in our Brighton's game that needs tweaking. Like teams like Arsenal, teams like Liverpool. In fact, we didn't play very good in the first half against Man City as well, if we be completely honest. So, but despite all that, I guess Hertzler is trying his best to get this team to work against his style. I guess there's still a lot of baggage with the last playing style. There may be a bit of egos of the players to completely gel, but I think overall it's working. It's working. I feel that we can like once we are at full strength, or once even if we are not at full strength, I think some of the new players they're just starting to get in when once Matt Weaver, Mark O'Reilly, Bahan Gruda, Yankuba Minte, Ferdi Kargiaglu, like these really expensive signings. Once they've had playing time, they gel, and the other players also for like Yasin Ayari and all these other players, they start getting in, they get some time, they play with each other a little more. I think pretty much, I think we are best team in the Prem. Bournemouth really like shows you why the Premier League is the best league in the world. Like it was so tough at times. Like they weren't giving an inch, and we, in our credit, like some we made fewer silly mistakes than we were making in the first few games. So it's great. I mean, we were lucky that we just got fed one goal. But overall, it was an awesome game. Every weekend, I undergo extreme depression because like I try my best to, like at work, I try not to show it. But then the only thing that lifts me up is Brighton and Hove Albion when they play. I must say one observation when last year under De Zerbi, last 2 years under De Zerbi, even if our team lost, the way we play, the way we should just try to keep playing from the back, like it was beautiful football. It was like it was very pleasing on the eye. So even when we used to lose, I should still feel satisfied. I've watched some amazing football. With Hertzler, maybe I don't understand tactics so well, or it's a little different, but I'm starting to enjoy it. I'm starting to like starting to see it. I think over here we don't really focus on build up much. Like sometimes we tend to give the opposition the ball and we absorb the pressure, and then we absorb the pressure, and then suddenly we'll get the ball back and like we score. So it's getting there. It's getting I'm getting still getting used to it. But yeah, overall, I feel really happy whenever our team win, and I think realistically we should come seventh this year. I know for true Brighton fans, like for those who live in Brighton and been Brighton fans for years, this might be horrible, and I'm not sure even if you would accept a new fan like me who's been here, who's in India just for 2 years and watched it over our subscription. I'm subscribed to Disney and Hotstar, by the way. It costs 10 quid per year. I'm sorry, that didn't mean to sting. 10 quid a year to watch all Prem games. There's no mean intention there at all. So, next Brighton Hove Albion match, I'll be back, and I hope we come seventh this season. I hope um, I hope we get the Conference League, and I hope we win the Conference League next year, get our titles, get our first titles, and next year try to start getting at least the Carabao Cup and maybe then into the Champions League. I think then our team with all our signings, like we'll mature enough to be at that level. So yes, thank you very much. You guys have a great day.